I was gonna make this as a live, and then um oh wait, no, this could be better. Let's try to make you. It is the way it is. It is the way it is. So sex appeal. That's actually the name and the game of this. My dog is in the background, and he might make noise. It is in the middle of the night here. I'm not sure what time, middle of the night, probably like 1 o'clock or something. My sleeps are very weird at the moment. Because I am coming over the mountain from a very deep recovery time, and it's like I have a lot more energy in my body and good vibes, literally. And because of that, it is just trying to find its way with the sleeping patterns. Anyway, so I am tired, but I really am going to be here with you as well. The joys of wrinkles as we get older. So, it's like, I love this feeling. Okay. So, I want to say about sex appeal. So, I was lying in my bed and I was thinking. And my thinking was about some various things. I was thinking about thinking. I was thinking about that energy. I was thinking about I woke him up now, so he's all like I was thinking about the aspects of I sometimes it's like just things come into my mind, and somehow I started thinking about sex appeal, and I was feeling into what is sex appeal, and from the aspect of relationships, sexuality, and I have my own experience, and then I have learned experience from others, listening to others, and learning through texts and other learnings. So I'm going to speak from my experience, and that's often what I work from, always, really. And I can only ever tell someone something I've heard, but it's not in my experience. So it's an awareness that I might have, but it's not an experience in the same way as a learning, maybe. As I spoke about before in one of my other Instagram lives. So, with the experience of sex appeal, I was thinking about sex appeal like, what is sex appeal? Do I use the word sex appeal in my life? Like, where is it landing? Like my sex appeal, other sex appeals? Do I find people sex appealing? So I was looking at this, and I found that everyone will find sex appeal different. And then there's like a bit of a stereotype of sex appeal. There's like, okay, this should have sex appeal. This person looks this way. And I suppose I'm going to use like a magazine figure, or what's that guy that is like Aquaman? Is he sex appeal to everyone? I don't know. I'm just thinking of the old days. It was like Brad Pitt, like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and that guy, I can never remember his name, Aquaman guy. Like, is he the pinnacle of sex appeal? Like, I don't know the modern day popular sex appeals because I'm not really in that world. Aquaman, because he's kind of in films that I would have seen or watched, or series. And so what is sex appeal? And if you think of it, it's funny because he's like a huge guy, and then if it's like comparison to Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, like they were like, it's like a totally different era. It's so interesting now thinking about this. Anyway, that's not why we came here, but or is it? is that why we actually came here? So what I was feeling into is sex appeal, and then I was looking at my experiences in different areas. Oh, my dog's going to have some water now. You're all going to hear him. I think we're going to have to pause. This is very loud. I'll actually let you play it. Listen to it for a second. You can see why. Yeah, pausing. He's provisionally finished. He might return in a few moments. He's so cute. He's so cute. He's old and he's cute. So I'm gonna say all my dogs used to sleep in my bedroom and my bed in the past. But he actually doesn't anymore, and he sleeps down here because he just preferred it. It was weird. Like he got it. Like he was just like, no, I need to be down here. Very interesting. Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of something like to do in the winter because the rad was making, like, sometimes they make some bubbly noises because it needed to be bled. And I think that freaked him out. And ever since, he just like is terrified of the room. There's bad spirits. But there's other things. He's older and he's more delicate and stuff like that. Anyway, so I was thinking about sex appeal there on the break, and the sex appeal aspect of the myself. Yeah, even I'm looking at my hair, I'm like, ooh. And I was thinking about like our weather in Ireland, and like for me, the heat is like a really, it's like a thing that gives me sex appeal, is like warmth. It's not so often like in the winter I would feel as like sexually active or attractive than I would in the summer. And it's totally down to weather for me. And that's why yeah, Ireland is not the best country for me to live in. But anyway, that's a different story. So I found that and there's loads of things there, like we could talk about, like diet, like there's loads. That's a whole other conversation. But I was thinking about the sex appeal of aspect of myself, and there's lots of reasons why you feel maybe sex appealing. I am really unaware of this conversation with the public, like as in this video will go public, because I don't talk about this in a public thing, and I actually don't really think I've ever really heard people talking with sex appeal. So it'd be really interesting to get your response. It's something I think a little bit taboo now, really, that I'm thinking about it, even though like I roll in the sexual conscious space and workspace. It's not really like the top of conversation, which is quite interesting. It's a really interesting one. But anyway, so I was thinking of like some people, all right, on the social space. So like people that I don't know maybe personally, then also people I do know personally and I have engaged with them personally. And we're just going to talk about men bodies first. And I was thinking, okay, that person I find attractive. Why? And I was thinking, do they have sex appeal? So that was this was the conversation, like going, is a sex appeal? And I was like, maybe. Or is it because I find them attractive on a vibrational level that is sex appealing to me? And someone else it might not be. And that's always the one I find really interesting about sex appeal, is that like, and as well, what is sex appeal to people? Some people it's like you want to have sex with them, they have sex appeal. But can someone be sex appealing and actually be someone you want to actually spend a loving relationship with? I don't think I find someone sex appealing if I wouldn't like to be sexually engage with them. And therefore, for me, I don't just engage with people because it's a sexual orientation. It needs to be a whole lot more than that. And of course, then I have that's a whole other conversation, because in the space of the tantra and conscious sexuality space, and just being a human being, there's loads to talk about there. But so it was really interesting for me to kind of go, oh yeah, okay. And then there's these people that try to be sex appealing, right? You could be one of them, you know. I was thinking about myself. I was like, do I ever try to be sex appealing? I was like, no. I know when I'm appealing sex. I kind of know it because it's like oozing out of me. But I'm not trying. It just happens, you know. And I'm not even sure how if I'm going to be able to post this with all this S.ex word. But anyway, I should call it hex or something. I don't know. So, um, yeah. And like, I really found that the sex appealing thing was like, oh, and there's loads of times in my life that I do not feel sex appealing at all. Even though maybe people might physically find me attractive or whatever, but like there's no appealing energy for me. So that's just my perspective. So I think we all have these views and perspectives, um, which are fascinating. And so then I was feeling into that about people that I know and people that I don't know, people that I've engaged with in an intimacy type way or a sexual way, and the people I haven't. But maybe I'd be open to. And I was like, what's a common factor for me? For me. So, like, that's my thing, right? Like, we all pick our own stuff. Like, what's a common factor for me? And I was like, well, the common factor for me is they are appealing. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the sex isn't really on the top, but it is like, it is there. I don't even know. It's interesting, right? Like, it's like love. Like, what is love? What is sex? What is, you know what I mean? It's like, I do, you don't know what I mean. It's like they're all their own little separate things, but they are the one and the same for me. And they're not the same for everyone. So that's really fascinating. And um, I feel like people need to have a look at this in their relationships and their sexual self. So like, I'm going to talk about females now, like, the sexual appealing to females. And like, there is women I feel there's sex appeal with, of course, because I am attracted to women as well. But it's like totally different. It's like a totally different sex appeal. It's so interesting. It's such a different energy, frequency, vibration for me than it would be with a man body person. And then it's funny because, like, on a soul level, we can connect so deeper. On a shamanic level, we can connect so much deeper than gender. So why would it be different? And I feel it's the approach to the body type due to the system of my body type. So, for example, I am a female body. So if I approach a male body, in general, they will probably be bigger than me. Or at the same size. They'll probably be physically stronger. They'll probably be, right? Like, this is just all assumptions, but just in general, I have had a boyfriend smaller than me, but like in general, they're still stronger. It just is what it is. And then women, there's more of an equality. And of course, there can be women that are much bigger than me, that would be stronger than me. But I feel like with women, it's just so different. And I feel like as well, if I was approaching a woman that's smaller than me, then I'm in more of a powerful position. Therefore, I have to be approaching things differently. So this is quite interesting because somehow it also relates to the sex appeal and how the approach is different and very fascinating. So I'm going to try and close this out with like leaving you with thoughts, just because it's an open dialogue for me, like right now, like this is just a thought process I'm having in my head, and enjoying sharing it with you all at whatever o'clock in the morning. um yeah, and like, and maybe you're like, oh my god, Matcha, I don't feel like I have any sex appeal. Well then, like, let me know, like, why don't you feel? And that's interesting. And you can do something about it. And then if you didn't, you can. And then if you're like, I have like, I'm obsessed, I just think, you know I like ooze sex appeal and I have problems, or I find everyone sex appealing. Like there's like gonna be a big range out there, and there's nothing wrong with it, but like it's good to try and find some center, coming back to center, coming back to alignment. And there's different phases in our life as well, whether we have like work stress, kids, health issues, partner, non-partner, it just influences everything. So yeah, and I've also been thinking about this a lot with Lucas, like we talk about everything, and talking about attraction, how we attract to each other, what we attract, why not. It's very interesting to have those conversations, especially now because we're together 10 years. So, and as well in an open relationship for many years, and just a lot of, and breakups and all sorts of things. So like, it's great to have that and kind of see 10 years later. It's very interesting, you know, very interesting. Yeah, like if you're, with someone that you're not attracted to, or you don't find them sex appealing, should you be really with them? Or you do want to have them sex appealing, to be appealed sexually, you or them, but something's gone missing. So what can you do then? Just in the relationship? No, you probably don't actually need to just in the relationship. There's a lot of stuff to look at, but it's very interesting to kind of look at like what's going on there. Okay, my friends. Goodbye. And yeah, I'm actually really serious. I don't actually just say send me a DM. I actually say it because I'm like, send me a DM, or send me an email. And probably do it instantly because otherwise you won't get around to it. And yeah. And maybe you're like, I don't want to send you a DM. You're going to just sell me something. And I'm going to tell you already, probably I won't be selling you anything. I'm going to tell you that already. Because if you wanted to buy something from me, you'd already be asking me. So yeah. Okay. Good night, my friends. We are nearly in the Lunasa spiral. We're in the Lunasa spiral, which also explains my weird sleep cycles. The shifting and changing. Which makes a lot of sense actually, because in harvest in the Celtic wheel, we are, which is Lunasa in Irish. Look, oh my god, lug, lognasa. Oh my god, I haven't said that word in Irish in ages. I'm gonna come back with that one. Pronunciation check tomorrow. So anyway, I always just think of the god Lug. And so yeah, like the pagan god Lug. But I actually feel like in harvest, and if you're a farmer, you know this to be true, um, that we are naturally actually very active all day, every day. It's a very high energy period in harvest because if you think about it, in summer solstice, you know, you come up and the peak energy is there, and you're like the fruit. You're like just soaking up all this energy, which was cultivated in the land through the year and then like poured into these vegetables, etc., for the spring, and then, you know, like sucking up into the crops. And then we have you know, summer solstice, so it's like the kind of like blooming flowers, like ooh, shiny, shiny. And then after that, it's like, okay, time to move. Like it like the shining time is over, you know, high peak of summer solstice. And then it's like we need to get the work done. It's a very, and it's not like all the rest of it wasn't work, it was all work, but now it's a very physical human piece because the harvesting is a lot of work. It's a lot of short time that things need to be harvested, and they need to be looked after well so that they get very what's the word, you know, the storing is done well. So like there's a lot of work, because if that's not done well in harvest and the energy's not put in that you've cultivated through summer solstice into harvest, therefore you will actually not be able to eat through the winter, or you won't be able to make money to feed your family. So it's quite like a big it's a big deal. It's a really big time that is really good to it's a cute one with herons. If you if you just, you know, give gratitude, and anything you're eating at this time, even though it might not be harvested at this time, or if you are harvesting, if you're a forager or anything like that, you know, collecting your vegetables, a grower, like, you know, be really grateful to the hard work that has been put in. And yeah, so our bodies are actually quite, you know, able to do a lot in the harvest time, but we are starting, the energy is already started going down. Like the horses are already shedding their coats, all the animals are, because the energy is starting to go down, and the next cycle has already started. So harvest even started about a week and a half ago, and that's my clock of harvest that I can tell. And it will continue now in this time. So do your prayers, do your rituals, and enjoy. Okay, goodbye, good night, much love, Salanta, Ihua.